If you're using Google Ads to generate leads for your business, there is a very easy way to massively increase the conversion rate from your Google Ad leads to paying customers. In this video, I'm going to show you what it is and how it works. So to demonstrate this, I'm in an example Google Ad account. I'm going to go ahead and create an example campaign to demonstrate the setting that I really want to focus on in this video that can have such a big impact on your conversion rate. I'm going to select a leads campaign because that's really what we're talking about today. Not going to focus on the other settings as I go through part of this campaign creation process. I've got videos on all of those. I really want to focus in on what we're discussing in this video. So just going to click continue here. I'm going to select a search campaign, but what I'm going to demonstrate absolutely applies to other campaign types, actually other campaign objectives as well. So keep that in mind. Click continue, continue, start new. I'm not going to worry about bidding. Again, other videos to focus on that. I'm going to jump to campaign settings. By the way, I'm demonstrating this as part of a new campaign creation process, but you could absolutely also make this change and change this setting on another campaign that's already running. You just go into settings and you'll be able to find it. Now, not a lot of Google advertisers are even aware that this exists because Google does somewhat hide it. But once you come into campaign settings, if you then scroll down to the bottom, then click on more settings, like I said, it's quite hidden. There's actually some other interesting stuff in here that I've discussed in other videos, but what I want to focus on today is add schedule. So if I go ahead and click edit on this, and you'll see that the default is all days. So what does that mean? That means that your Google ads are going to run all day, all night, every day of the week. Now that might be fine for some businesses, but it absolutely isn't for others. This is more likely to affect lead-based businesses than, say, an e-commerce business. Because if you've got an e-commerce business, if someone buys at 3 a.m. on a Saturday or 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, they've bought, right? You've got the end outcome. There's not really any difference between the two. You're happy either way. But when you're generating leads, the difference in quality between that lead that comes through at 3 a.m. on a Saturday versus 10 a.m. on a Tuesday is massive. You will know that you are far more likely to convert the lead that came through at 10 a.m. for a few different reasons. One, because they're probably more intentional when they're actually becoming a lead in the first place. Secondly, you are able to get in touch with that prospect much faster. And we know that that has a huge impact. Speed to lead is one of the biggest determining factors whether or not you get in touch with the prospect, and that massively impacts conversion rates. So you see the time and day of the week that the lead is generated impacts quality on a number of different variables. Usually better quality prospects, more intentional, might be a bit more serious, more likely to have qualifying budget or whatever it is that are qualifying criteria in order to work with you and use your services, whatever they happen to be. But also you just are able to get in touch with them much easier. So what a lot of businesses will do is they'll come in and they will set schedules with that in mind, right? So they might go, look, we're only going to run our ads Monday to Friday during standard business hours, for example. So we're going to run them from 9 until 5. Businesses that operate in a B2B lead capacity absolutely want to do this, or at least experiment with it and see how it performs. A lot of other businesses will do this because that's when they have their sales staff, their customer support people ready to reach out to any leads that come through and help them and jump on that for them. So they might choose Monday to Fridays. But this is where it's really valuable to know your data, because you might say, actually, no, that's not right. We generate our best results on weekends because we have a B2C based lead service. People are at work during the week. That's actually not the best time. If we can catch them on the weekends to become a lead, we can get in touch with them easier and progress them into whatever it is that we're looking to sell from a service standpoint. So we only want to advertise all Saturdays or all Sundays, or we're only going to advertise Saturdays to Sundays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So a lot of it's going to depend on your business when you have capacity to reach out and get in touch with people. But be aware of this mechanism that if someone is becoming a lead and you're not getting in touch with them for a couple of days, there's a good chance that's wasted budget and you'd be better off generating that lead during other times. And remember, our job as Google advertisers, if you're looking to generate leads, is not to generate as many leads as possible. It's to get the best possible return on ad spend for your budget, for what you're spending on your Google ads. And that might mean that you pay a little bit more in terms of cost per lead, because if you go in and I'll put it back to what I had previously, which is a very common setup. You go in and select 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, so standard business hours. It's very likely that your cost per lead will increase in comparison to if you just leave it as all days. And that leads to a lot of Google advertisers wanting to just go with all days. But it's better to pay a bit more cost per lead if your conversion rate is significantly higher because of the factors that we just discussed, because that's going to get a better overall return on ad spend. And You can then look to scale the campaigns, reinvest, it creates a more profitable company, more profitable marketing campaign, all the reasons why we're running our Google ads in the first place. So a few things to note about using this, when to use it, when to not. So firstly, if you have an issue with lead quality, you really feel like you're generating leads, but you're struggling to see the conversions from them, definitely something to test. One of the easiest things you can go in and implement and track your conversion rates pre the change, post, and then go ahead and see if that makes a big difference. Factor in obviously the difference that you're likely to see in lead cost, because it might be that you see a 10% increase in lead cost, but you see a 60% increase in conversion rate. Well, that's a great deal. I'd happily do that. Maybe the numbers are different, so where you need to be able to track the results and track your numbers. Another thing to note about ad schedules is that introducing an ad schedule, if you are constrained, for example, by search volume, let's say you're doing this as part of a search campaign, there aren't that many searches for your keywords, might not be the way to go. Because whilst, yes, a lead generated on Tuesday morning is better than the middle of the night on a Saturday, if you're really struggling to get enough leads in the first place, simply because there's not that many people searching, perhaps you operate in quite a small, specific niche market, maybe not the right way to go in that instance. It's always something you could still test, and if you do find that you're really restricting your potential impressions and therefore the leads you can generate, you can always undo it. Like a lot of Google Ads things, you test settings, you watch videos like this and make recommendations you think that could work for my business, but always do it with the idea that if it doesn't work out, we can always go back. Nothing wrong with doing that. And if you've got Google Ad campaigns running right now, or you've run them in the past, you can actually have a look at the data and use that to inform, okay, these days of the week, these times perform best for us. We can then go ahead and adjust our campaigns accordingly. I'll show you how to do that in a second. First, I want to very quickly let you know about Hyros. Hyros is fantastic tracking and attribution software and can really help you improve your Google Ad results. It's a software that all the big players in the industry use, including myself. I use it to track results for my own ads across multiple platforms, including Google Ads, and all my organic results as well, which is super helpful. So if someone, for example, comes through and books a call for our done-for-you services, I can see exactly where that person came from. This is particularly important if you're running ads across multiple channels or generating customers organically as well. Without accurate data, you are flying blind, and knowledge is power. So let me show you how important this is. So I'm here in my Hyros dashboard. I'm going to take a look at the data and the results that Hyros has been able to track and compare those to what I'm seeing within my Google Ad account for the same campaign. So this is a Google Ad campaign that we've been running. We're only looking at data for a few days here, but it really demonstrates what's going on. So you can see Hyros has registered 6 leads generated, a cost per lead of just over £15, 75 clicks. It's just a branded search campaign, hence why the CTR is 30%. So not a huge amount going on, but representative, right? So that's the data we can see within Hyros. If I jump over to my Google Ad account, we look at the exact same campaign, same time frame. We've got May 21st to 27th. You can see a lot of the data matches up, right? We've got 75 clicks, 30% CTR just like before. But if we scroll over, you can see that Google has only registered 3 conversions as opposed to the 6. So it's registered half the number of conversions. And I can tell you, looking at the back-end data, that the 6 from Hyros is the accurate number. And that's why this is so important, because we might look at the Google Ads data and come to the wrong conclusion, think this isn't profitable, turn stuff off when we shouldn't, but we can verify it with the Hyros data and make much better, more informed decisions and end up with better overall ad results because of it. So if you want to improve the performance of your Google Ad campaigns and be able to see exactly where your leads and sales are coming from, go ahead and sign up to Hyros. There is a link in the video description. Okay, so here's how you look at the data for your performance based on day of the week and also time of the day. So I'm in my campaign window here, and you can just go ahead and click on segment, and then you've got by time, and then you can either do hour of the day of the week, or other options there as well. Let's start with day of the week. Now, part of the reason why I use this campaign is because it had almost $500,000 spent on it, and we've got a lot of conversions, and it does help when you're going through this data to have quite a bit of conversion volume, because if you've only generated a handful of conversions, we're looking at by hour of day or even day of week, there's only so valuable that can be. The more data you have, the more useful this will be. So when we look at the day-by-day data in this campaign, for this campaign, we see very interesting numbers, and we can see obviously the data by all sorts of different metrics, but I just want to highlight a few here. So the overall conversion rate is 1.28%. By the way, this is an e-commerce campaign, not lead-based, but it's a good example to demonstrate. I just want to quickly highlight that because that's the conversion rate from click to, in this case, purchase, which is obviously going to be lower from click to lead gen. Anyway, so 1.28% overall, but if we do day by day, we see Sunday 1.23, Monday 1.1, Tuesday 1.9, Wednesday 1.94, Thursday 1.6, Friday all the way down to 0.88, and Saturday at 1.1. So we can see massive difference in conversion rates from click, in this case, to purchase, based on the different days of the week, you may well see something similar with your lead-based campaigns. Now, obviously, we don't just want to track conversion rates from click to lead. We also want to track the conversion rates from lead to client, which you might not be able to see within your Google Ad account. That might need to be externally tracked. You need to pair that with other metrics though. So for example, you might need to look at your cost per lead. If we look at a column that would help explain what I'm talking about there, let's look at average cost. So this is average cost per interaction. We can see the average is 34 cents, Sunday it's 31, Monday 28, Tuesday 49, Wednesday 54, Thursday 43, Friday 24, and Saturday 31. So whilst Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday convert better, significantly better, they are also more expensive. Not a surprise because the cost is set via an auction with demand and supply. So that doesn't surprise me massively, but you have to look at it in combination with the different metrics. And then the other option I wanted to demonstrate, if I click on segment, and we do time and we do hour of the day, even more so because there's more of a breakdown. And then we can see similar data, but by hours of the day, naught being sort of midnight and that sort of thing, right? So if we have a look here at a different metric, I want to show you some different examples. Let's have a look at our return on ad spend of this campaign. So conversion value by cost. So the overall is just over a 3x. So campaigns perform decently, particularly at that scale. And we can do by hours, right? So 2.48, midnight to 1 a.m., 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. is 2.9. You can see 1.98, 2.49, 1.72. So unsurprisingly, the sort of middle of the night, 1 a.m.-ish to 5 a.m.-ish, doesn't perform very well. Not that surprising, right? And then as we go on through the day, you can see the return ad spend number increase. We get to over a 3 by like 11 a.m. Around lunchtime's over a 3. Decent in the afternoon. We're all over 3s, and we stay that way into the evening, peaking. I think that's the highest one. No, the highest one's 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Exactly what you'd expect, right? But you could come in here and be like, you know what? Our results are rubbish from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. So let's just not advertise during that time period. And like I said, we're looking at some metrics here that you may be looking at. You might also need to look at your conversion rate from lead to paying customer, which likely is going to be external to your Google Ads dashboard. So you need to be able to track that. And that's going to take some extra effort. You could integrate it in here and make sure that data is passed in. I just know most Google advertisers don't have that set up. So this is how you would come in and look at the data if you already have campaigns running or you've had them in the past. You can have a look at the data and use this to inform how you're going to go about setting up your ad schedule that's right for your business, because there's no one size fits all with anything Google Ads related, ad schedule included. And just a quick reminder that if you want more support from me and my team, we offer both done-for-you services, so we can create, manage, and optimize your Google Ad campaigns for you. We can also teach you how to get fantastic Google Ad results. There are links to both options in the video description below. So if you're interested in either, go ahead and click on those and you can book in a free call with one of my team members to find out more. And if you're wondering what to watch next, I'd recommend that you check out this video, because Google Ads are now appearing, and this is being rolled out, in AI overviews. It's a complete change to the way search ads are going to operate, an enormously important part of Google Ads. I cover all the details in this video here, showing what's happening, giving you examples. Go ahead and give it a watch.